We're continuing to follow that tremendous avalanche at the Alta ski area in Utah. We're now told that one skier who was buried for 3 hours beneath tons of snow has been found apparently alive and taken to a hospital in Salt Lake City. We know nothing about his condition. He's 16 years old. Once again, one skier found at the Alta ski area after a tremendous avalanche in Utah today. Right?
We certainly hope he's going to be all right. You know, Bill, coming back to Steamboat gave me a chance to renew acquaintances with Daisy Anderson. I met her about 10 years ago when I did a story in connection with the nation's bicentennial. And she's lived in Steamboat for about 50 years, and her story is one of living history.
Huh. Oh, beautiful, for spacious sky.
That song seems a fit choice to open a program dedicated to 85-year-old Daisy Anderson, whose own life encompasses so much of the American experience. Mrs. Anderson is the widow of a former slave. She chronicled her husband's experiences in a book titled From Slavery to Affluence.
It told of his childhood, his life on the plantation.
The book goes on to tell how her husband became a successful homesteader in Nebraska, and it recounts, sometimes painfully, her reception in Routt County, where she moved after his death. The year was 1936.
When we got here, why, the people wasn't ready for us. They wasn't accustomed to having blacks around.
But Mrs. Anderson stayed, working for $1 a day doing domestic work, and eventually owning a restaurant business with her sister. Today, Daisy Anderson is one of Steamboat's most beloved residents. She says, looking back, that times have changed, and so have the people.
I want to say that if the whole world would do as we have done here in Routt County, we've moved on and to better things, to do better things to each other.
She's like a history book.
She is. Beautiful lady.
That's our news for now. Tonight at 10, the very latest on that avalanche at the Alta ski area in Utah. And as this video shot by News Center 4 earlier today indicates, the avalanche danger in the Rockies is extremely high. We'll have the latest tonight at 10 on News Center 4's Late Edition.
Tomorrow night we'll be in Aspen, but thank you, Steamboat. We love you. Good night.
This is Bob Palmer. Regardless of denomination, Coloradans are returning to religion for a number of reasons. The conclusion of Bill Sternoff's special series, One Nation Under God, tonight at 10 on News Center 4's Late Edition.
From KCNC TV, this is the Colorado Evening News with a special on-the-road edition from Dillon. Now celebrate Colorado with Bill Stewart, Reynelda Muse, and Ed Green.
Once again, fall in the Rockies feels more like winter. We're live tonight from the shores of Dillon Reservoir. We're 70 miles west of Denver in the heart of Summit County, where a taste of winter has followed us for the third straight day.
Good evening and welcome to this third and final on-the-road edition of the Colorado Evening News. Joining us tonight live from Dillon Reservoir are about 35 or 40 hearty souls, residents of the area, who've come out to see us do our show. We sincerely appreciate it. Their presence and enthusiasm is helping to keep us just a little bit warmer.
One of them's got earmuffs, and I'm gonna get it.
From across Colorado, this is the Emmy Award-winning News Center 4 at noon.
Good afternoon and welcome to News Center 4. Here's what's happening. The massive wildfire in South Dakota is now just a few hundred yards outside of Rapid City. The fire has already destroyed 22 buildings, including 7 homes. 1,000 people were forced to evacuate a subdivision yesterday, but they were allowed to return home when the winds shifted. Now the city itself is threatened. Investigators say someone deliberately put a match in a cigarette and started the fire.
We've already picked up a cigarette in this area down here, so this is where a witness indicated it started.
High winds and 100-degree temperatures are making it tough for the hundreds of firefighters trying to control the fire.
Firefighters are still working on the huge fires that are destroying portions of Yellowstone National Park. More than 100,000 acres have burned in the fires. Firefighters have begun using helicopters with suspended gasoline torches to create backfires and to stop the flames from getting near Old Faithful. They're also cutting down trees around the Old Faithful complex so the fire won't have any fuel to spread if it reaches that far. The fire in the Flaming Gorge Recreation Area in Utah is now considered contained. Nearly 2,000 acres burned since last Saturday. The fire was caused by 2 men setting off fireworks.
Here in Colorado, the Washington County DA is closing its investigation into possible child abuse and satanic rituals at an Akron daycare center. District Attorney Doyle John says there simply is not enough evidence to continue the probe. The investigation began last year after 7 youngsters said that they had been sexually abused by masked adults. Some of the children said a boy named Bobby had even been decapitated. DA John says the evidence does not support the youngsters' allegations. Well, the young woman killed in a freak accident at Lakeside Speedway will be buried today. Services took place yesterday for Christy Carlson, who died when a car spun out of control on Sunday. Carlson's family urged a boycott of yesterday's race, but it went on anyway, and fans flocked to the speedway.
It's in my blood. It bothers me, but it won't keep me from it.
Inspectors checked the track and say the accident is unlikely to happen again.
An elderly couple is still in the intensive care unit this afternoon. Grace Nakagawa is in critical condition. Her husband, Jack, in serious condition. Both are suffering from injuries they received in a hit-and-run accident at 14th and Quebec yesterday. Police are still looking for 3 teenagers who ran from the scene, even though witnesses say the trio was not at fault in the accident. Despite a 7.5% pay raise, University Hospital still can't recruit enough nurses, and the hospital is having to turn away patients. The hospital has more than 100 nursing vacancies, a fifth of the nursing staff. Over the weekend, ambulances had to be diverted to other hospitals. Administrators are meeting daily to determine how many patients can be seen and how many have to be turned away. University Hospital nurses make about $14 an hour. That's less than most other Denver hospitals pay.
Some patrons of a Westminster restaurant may need to get a shot to prevent hepatitis. A cook at the Black Eyed Pea restaurant at 88th and Teller has tested positive for hepatitis A. Health officials say only people who ate lettuce or tomato in the restaurant after 4 p.m. between July 14th and 25th need to have an immune globulin shot.
Still to come on News Center 4, what we eat plays a major role in our long-term health.
2 young newlyweds say they disappeared for 3 months out of love.
A promise of heavier rain today, but not for everyone.
400,000 people in Colorado are functionally illiterate. This is a literacy festival aimed at shrinking that number, or at least making sure it doesn't grow. I'm Brian Moss. I'll have a live report next.
Broadcast news operations in Denver. This is News 4 at noon. Colorado's #1 news. With Reynelda Muse, David Crabtree, and Marty Matthews.
Thousands gather on a chilly morning to pay tribute to a man who gave his life for his principles and for freedom. It's Martin Luther King Day, 1993. Good afternoon, I'm Reynelda Muse.
And I'm Jean Martirez, in today for David Crabtree. Welcome to News 4 at noon.
Today we continue to demonstrate our commitment to news. News 4 at noon is now an hour long.
We hope you'll plan to be with us every weekday from noon till 1 o'clock.
About 5,000 people turned out this morning for the Martin Luther King Parade and March, or Marade, from City Park to the Colorado Convention Center. News 4 has several crews covering the marchers, and we begin now with Lou Ann Aiken aboard Copter 4 above the parade route. Lou?
Good morning, Ray. We have the group approaching within just a few blocks of the Colorado Convention Center now. They're in the shade down there. Sometimes they're a little bit hard to see. Denver police estimated the size of this crowd at 5,000 when they left City Park about an hour, coming up on an hour and a half ago now. There they are down in that deep shade of downtown Denver. No doubt the crowd has grown from 5,000 to something much larger. We have watched Denver police respond to several reports of minor concern today. For example, reports of people on rooftops along the parade parade route. Without exception, those reports have proven to be nothing of major concern. So far, I think all the people that set out ready to make this a quiet, an eventful, and non-violent sort of day to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday have done just that. We will be back with more a little bit later in the hour. Ray, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Lou. We'll look for that report. Jean?
The morning began with inspirational speeches and singing in City Park. The huge crowd gathered at the statue of Martin Luther King Jr. The ceremony was called Families Remembering the Dream. That's exactly what they did this morning, adults and children of all races. The crowd was led by 2 Baptist choirs. Speakers express hope everyone there understands the importance of family, preached by Dr. King. Once again this year, the Ku Klux Klan has chosen this day to hold a rally of their own. Heavy police presence around the rally at the state capitol this morning. It's an attempt to avoid all the problems of last year. A couple of 100 people joined the Klan on the steps of the Capitol, and many others stayed outside the police barriers to just watch.
And in Vail this morning, a moment of silent prayer marking Martin Luther King Day. Dozens of members of the National Brotherhood of Skiers turned out for the short ceremony under the Lion's Head gondola. Speakers included William Pinkney, who made history recently by sailing around the world by himself. He related the late Dr. King's dream to his own.
First, the dream. You see, Dr. King's dream required everything he had, right down to his very life. And I think if we look at that as a benchmark for whatever we endeavor to do in life, we have a direction.
A group rendition of We Shall Overcome rounded out the early morning vigil before the skiers hit the slopes. We will have more of the National Brotherhood of Skiers meet later in our newscast.
In Gary, Indiana, at least 8 people are reported dead after 2 commuter trains crashed head-on. It happened earlier this morning. Officials on the scene say several people are still trapped inside the twisted wreckage. There are reports dozens of commuters have been hurt. One train was reportedly heading from Chicago, the other from South Bend, Indiana. Officials say the trains were not as crowded as they usually are due to the Martin Luther King Day holiday.
The United States is once again sending a strong message to Saddam Hussein. He must comply with UN resolutions. This morning, Allied forces bombed Iraq for the 3rd time in less than a week. Iraqi missile sites were the targets today, mostly sites the U.S. had missed during last week's raid. British and French planes joined in this attack and all returned safely.
We did go in with a small package this morning against some early warning sector headquarters and some surface-to-air missile sites. And right now it appears that we did fairly well. We went in the daylight hours, which is not comfortable for us. We'd rather go in the dark, but there was not as much resistance as we had expected.
Iraq's state-run news agency says the Allied attacks over the past 2 days have killed 21 people. Iraq also claims the no-fly zones the Allied planes are patrolling are illegal, and the United Nations never authorized those zones to protect Kurds. Iraqi officials say President Bush simply wants a new bloodbath with Iraq to vindicate his election defeat. Now, come Wednesday, the Iraqi situation officially becomes President-elect Bill Clinton's problem. And at Georgetown University this morning, Mr. Clinton says Saddam Hussein can expect the same treatment from him.
He must understand that America's resolve during this transition period will not waver.
Mr. Clinton says he supports President Bush's decision to strike Iraq again today.
Kuwaiti officials say Iraq has started to dismantle police posts inside the Kuwaiti border, and that would be in compliance with United Nations resolutions. Meantime, the popular Baghdad hotel for foreign journalists, the Al Rashid, was hit by Allied missiles during yesterday's attack. 3 people were killed.
Sorry, I can't see you because I lost my spectacles and 2 teeth, but I'm still alive.
Iraqi officials today are saying these latest attacks on Iraq will solve nothing.
A new feature of our expanded News 4 at Noon program, something we're calling No Wait Weather, a chance for you to get a capsule on the afternoon and evening forecast first.
Of course, no one better equipped to do this than our own Marty Matthews. How's it looking so far, that forecast?
Well, it looks okay this morning. If you're heading into work, let's say you're coming from the south area, a lot of sunshine, then you drove into downtown. What's all this fog? Well, most of the fog has burned off, and it looks like it should be a fine day. It all changes, though, later on today into tonight. More snow. Let's take a look at what we have going. CityCam shows that we have hazy sunshine out there, but it is still a blue day for air quality. If you'd like to have a fire in the fireplace, go right ahead. Low this morning was 15 degrees, currently 37 at the airport, and it looks like our high later on this afternoon around the Denver Metro will be around 40 or 42 degrees. Across the state, if you are traveling, be on the lookout for increasing snow showers, both west and mountains. Several advisories are in effect. We'll look at those in a second. Out east today, plenty of sunshine, increasing mainly high clouds. Later on this afternoon, highs will be in the upper 20s to middle 40s. In the high country, 25 to 35 degrees, and on the western slope, 32 to 43 degrees for daytime highs. On we go now to a look at those advisory areas. Snow advisory for the Northwest Plateau, northern Central Mountain, San Luis Valley, and Sangre de Cristos, 48 inches of snow possible there. By midnight, heavy snow warning for the Southwest Mountains, 8 to 16 inches, and a winter storm watch for the Four Corners area. No weather for Denver today, calling for plenty of sunshine, but increasing clouds, high clouds mainly. Temperatures reaching into the 40s. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy with snow showers developing, mainly light, lows down to the 20s. And then tomorrow, snow to start us off, then decreasing by the afternoon with highs in the 30s. And I'll have a look at the extended forecast in just a little bit. In the meantime, back to Ray and Jean.
All right, we'll look for it.
That's
Thanks.
right. Well, both sides of the Amendment 2 debate are going to be back in court soon. We'll update you on the state's appeal of Friday's judge's ruling.
And now that the 49ers are out, the Broncos can pursue the man most people think will be the new coach for Denver.